Thank you so much for tuning in to 1851 Franchise's Top Franchise Brokers of 2023. I'm Jeff Dwyer, and today I'm joined by Brigitte Betser of FranNet. Brigitte, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So, Brigitte, I'd really like to just dive right into the questions we have, and I'd like to get your insight as a broker. So,
Sure.
can you start by just kind of telling me or telling the audience what makes you successful as a franchise broker?
Sure, absolutely. I think there's actually a couple of things, Jeff, that make me successful as a broker. And the first one is that I've got over 25 years of experience in the franchising world. And I have been on both sides of the fence now, on the franchisor side and on the franchisee side at FranNet. That along with an honest approach to doing business, I think, makes a good recipe for success.
Excellent. And again, I want to, mention that you do have experience on both sides of the table,
Right.
right? So you have that experience as a franchise owner, as a franchise broker. So with that experience, what advice would you have for someone who may be considering becoming a franchisee themselves for the very first time?
Right. I think it's really important to do research as you're exploring different franchise concepts and dig in deep to the role of the owner.
Mhm.
I think a lot of folks don't take enough time to research what a day in the life of an owner actually looks like. And I apologize for my dog barking in the background.
No,
I
no,
do
no
hear
problem.
from and sometimes that happens when she sees a rabbit or a bird outside. But um, no, not to go back to your question. I think research is very important and understanding the role of the owner and what it takes to be successful as an owner in a particular franchise concept is very important. And it's not just the brand that you need to think about, but the ramp up time. Does the role of the owner involve cold calling or a different type of sales?
Mm.
And are you willing as an owner to put on those different hats and do whatever it takes to build that business and be successful?
Well said, and I think that's important to mention. You mentioned that it's important to fall in love with not only the brand but the role as the owner. Because if you're not passionate about it, if you don't love it, you went too fast into the decision making process. You really have to fall in love with every aspect of operating the business in order to run a successful business. And that longevity, you have to love it to want to do it every single day in order to be successful. So can you tell me, what does winning look like for you?
Winning for me is helping folks find that magic fit, right? So here at FranNet, I like to tell folks my job is to put those puzzle pieces together for them as they're researching franchises. And there's a lot of puzzle pieces. So when we get to the point where that puzzle's complete and they've found the franchise for them, they launch it, they love it, things are going great. That's winning for me. I see my clients in my local market every day, believe it or not. So it's really important for me to find them a great fit. And when I see those smiles on their faces and get those update calls or visits with updates that things are going great, or they're adding another location because things are going so well, that's winning for me.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm sure getting that call or seeing them in person or just a quick update email, whatever it is, I'm sure when you get that months or years later, it puts a smile on your face, right? Because you're satisfied that you've put someone in the right position and they're happy too. They're living the American dream. So what's not to love about that? It's a win-win situation.
Exactly.
So, Bridget, can you sort of tell me what advice would you have for franchisors who may want your help in awarding new franchisees?
I think when it comes to the franchisors, it's really important for you to have a solidified system that's been replicated before you start franchising. It's very hard to help guide folks through the research of an emerging franchise concept that really only has one location. So take the time to really solidify your system. Add another location or two to show those potential franchisees that your system can be replicated before really diving into franchise efforts. And I think it's also really important to, again, I'm a big believer in integrity, honesty. If there's going to be bumps in the road, let's talk about what those look like before we bring new franchisees in.
Well said. I think that transparency it's extremely important, right? That and just being honest, open communication. And in relation to communication, how can franchisors better communicate with you?
I think communication, there's a different preference for everybody, right? So, really just establishing that relationship with me up front as we're working together is very important in understanding how each of us might communicate through the process. So really, I'm open to different modes of communication, and I think that synergy will be developed with each individual franchise development representative.
Oh, absolutely. Every person's different. You mentioned that. So whatever works best for them, I'm sure you're willing to accommodate in order to reach the best results in the end game, right?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Well, Bridget, that is all the time we have for today. I wanted to say thank you again for joining us. It was very insightful. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, and congratulations on your nomination.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me.
Thanks so much. Take care.
You too.